Hello, everyone. Today I'm here with Toon Kockx, Business Unit Director of Belgium, SWORD Group. And Toon, many great pleasure to have you here today. How are you today?
Nice to be here. I'm fine. Thanks for being here.
So if you may just explain a bit about who are you, what's your role at SWORD, especially especially in the Belgium operation, would be great just to give a bit of context. I think everybody already knows you, so even better than me. So it is a quite small market.
Of course. Well, my name is Toon Kockx, and I'm a business unit director for SWORD Group. I'm based in our Brussels office, and in my role, I'm responsible for all of the Times and Meets activities. And of course, the main focus is on the European institutions, such as the European Commission, the European Parliament, but also some Belgian public administrations at the federal and regional level. My scope is covering both the commercial side, so I'm working with clients and framework contracts, but also on the operational side. So that means recruitment, team development, and of course making sure that our consultants are successfully deployed on long-term missions. So basically, at the intersection, you could say, between the client needs, delivery, and talent.
Because for your role, so you have two main responsibilities with SWORD: to win the contracts and plus deliver the contract. It's not only, which is quite sometimes, okay, we won a 400 million euro contract. Yes, but how much that really realized on sales increase and all those things. So European institutions is quite unique, or I would say, like, when you work with large contracts, it's a kind of a very specific, or very, I would say that just because you won the contracts doesn't mean that you delivered the contract. So there's two phases: the sale, the tenders, and the awards, and then the implementation, which is kind of and you are doing both, correct?
Well, I'm more on the delivery side, but I also have my hand, of course, in the bidding phase, specifically on the more strategic domain. So, of course, when we're talking about deciding on which strategy to follow to be able to win a bid. Obviously, I also have my part in that, because I think it's very important in an organization today to not have, let's say, bidding and delivery decoupled, because if you do not know the reality of the terrain, it's impossible to come with a strategy that is not only a strategy to win, but also to execute.
Exactly, yeah. That's a very good approach from SWORD in order to give that, put you in that position that you can see both scenarios, so you really can help the bidding part, but you also then you understand how the delivery is done, so you also can help the bidding to just don't give some crazy prices that then for the delivery part will be almost impossible to deliver, or will be very hard, and sometimes you can even put the company at risk as well, because with those large contracts, there also comes large liabilities, and it's quite critical that the price is correct, and you can really can operate within the contract that you have decided.
Absolutely.
So just to give a bit overview for people that not understand a bit the European institutions and European market. So if you can have like 1 or 2 minutes just to explain how it works, how is the tender is announced, and then how the implementation is done. Like, so usually it's contracts of 4 years, no? Depends on a framework contracts.
It depends. It really depends. There's a large multitude of types of contracts. There's also, let's say, some shifts in way procurement is working today and how they are planning to work tomorrow. But
which are scary.
It was scary. Let's say everything brings opportunities as well. Yes. So it's the pessimist or the optimist story. It depends on how you look at it. But very simply put, of course, when you're working with European institutions and other public bodies, you could say, you're working in a public procurement market. So that means that there is a very big need in terms of transparency. So the way I always explain to people that are not within our sector is very straightforward. It's okay. You have a public buyer, let's say a European institution. They issue a call for tender, in which basically they go to the market and say, okay, give us your best price. Based on your best price, we will choose with which company or companies we will work together for the coming period of time. It can be 4 years, can be 6 years, can be longer. And they also, they have more and more the tendency of moving away from, let's say, the old structure of working with a tier system, where they select one party on the first rank, another party on the second rank, and so forth, to more of, what many people know now as a DPS, a dynamic procurement system, where basically you will tender a big call for tender to multiple vendors at the same time, and basically only granting you access to the next mini competitions. That's pretty much
the playoff. It's kind of a playoff.
You could call it that way, yeah, if you want to go into football terms. It's a little bit like that. In basic, you have the possibility to make an offer, and each time, again, you have to make sure that you come with the best and the most competitive offer at the same time. That's pretty much how things are working.
That creates a huge overhead, no? On a delivery team, no? For example, on the GTM, you have 400 million euros that are allocated, or even more. On DPS, they split it by chunks of 20 millions. So for every small contract, you need to do all the procurement, all the paperwork, which brings a lot of overhead.
Indeed. Let's say that, of course, the biggest part of administration is done once you apply for the call for tender. That the classical checks that you have to go through, the criminal record, if you are having, let's say, a positive balance on the sheets, all those kind of things, they are pre-checked. Basically, that whenever you get to the mini competition, you of course have to make a technical offer with a pricing offer, and of course it does create some overhead. But let's face it, the overhead was already there also in the old system. It's just a different way of approaching things. And I think that in this setting of moving towards the DPS is heavier on the client's perspective than on the supplier perspective. We've already had the experience doing that for many years.
Yes, you are drilled already. For you, it's
we are drilled. Yeah, you could say it like that.
Yeah, is it? So, and many times, like SWORD Group is a big consulting group. So you are spread between Belgium, Luxembourg, Greece, and I think also many other countries like Spain as well. For you, so you sell expertise. So as a consultancy group, you sell expertise, the knowledge, the savoir-faire. It's a bit French here to feel sophisticated. But that knowledge is all brought by your consultants, by your employees, by your collaborators. So that's why I believe that for consulting companies, it's kind of critical to know the knowledge that they have in-house, to have a good CV management, to have all the skills, all the certifications, so you know everything about your employees and collaborators, because in the end, so you sell expertise and they represent your expertise as well. So how is the SWORD? What is the vision of SWORD regarding CV management, and what CV management challenges brings to the European institutions specifically, because it's they have a lot of requirements and certifications and skills and all those things when you reply and when you prepare the offers and also reply to a request. How is the CV management a key part of the business as well?
Well, that's a very good question. It is indeed a very critical strategic point, the CV management. And especially what we see as an issue is that once you come to a certain size of company, and also, as you mentioned, we have operations in different countries, it's very difficult to get a good view on all the expertise you have in-house. Because let's face it, if you have only 20 consultants, okay, you can easily keep track, and you know everybody.
You know them all by heart. So
you know them by heart. You know, okay, I have a need for somebody with an experience in .NET. Okay, I can go speak to Mr. But if you are having a large number of consultants spread over different countries, plus with some mobility as well, because obviously there's people coming, there's people going. It's particularly difficult to keep track of that. Let's say that until recently, we managed everything very manually, in the sense that, okay, we do have some, let's say, internal systems to keep track of all of our operations, but it's not per se tailored towards profiles and the knowledge base that we have in-house. So that is something that we managed to implement thanks to Sprint CV, obviously, as well. Was a big help in in setting up that knowledge base, because now it gives us a good overview of all the people that are currently live, let's say, at our company. We have a direct access, our bidding team as well has a direct access to see, okay, there is a call for tender coming in a specific domain, in a specific niche. We immediately have a snap picture of, okay, these are the number of people that we have in-house. These are the seniority levels that we have in-house. If there is a need for certain certifications, okay, they are all uploaded in the system as well. So we can quickly have a good view on whether or not we can be eligible for a call for tender or not, which is the very first step.
Yeah, because I remember to speak with some companies. They said, like, you speak with the bidding team and say, we have a huge folder of CVs of our employees that are just, everybody dumps them there. It's like a dumpster. And then in different formats, in different languages, in different layouts, and some in PDF, another in Word. And then they just start to open one by one, or just to, so they start to build their Excels, and they'll build a kind of their indexes to navigate through all that mess of CVs with no organization. And every time that they need to do a call for tender, because call for tenders are also kind of, they ask different templates, they ask different CV templates. The Parliament asks one, Commission asks one, Framework Contract 1, 2, 3 have 1 to 3 different templates. It's kind of it's a huge burden for the bidding team and also for the delivery just to comply with the process. When they should be focusing on delivery and strategy, they are focusing on manual admin and a huge overhead just to comply with the documents required, when all of that should be automated. And then the skill CV management should be structured with automation, and all the teams align around the same single source of the truth, let's say, the CV management of the solution. And I remember that in the past, so we have a special relationship. So SWORD Belgium, SWORD me, well, even me and you. So we know already for many years. So we have contacted already. So we have crossed, our paths have crossed. And I remember like 4 or 5 years ago, SWORD Belgium has decided to select the ATS, the bullhorn, and then you believe that the ATS would do everything. So they, of course, as good salesmen, they say, we do everything. So we check the box of recruitment, we check the box of delivery, we check the templates and all those things. And I think the relationship at least didn't go that well, because you realize that you were very strong on recruitment and maybe less adapted to the European institutions' reality. I don't know how it went.
Well, let's say that in the meantime we have a different ATS. We are working with Recruitee, which I must say is a very good and powerful tool. We are very, very satisfied with that solution. But of course, a tool does what it does best. In this case, it's an ATS, and it's exactly what it is, an applicant tracking system. So it's a system that is ideal for tracking all of your recruitment processes. But what we were lacking is, let's say, some additional power that is not standard foreseen in an ATS, because, of course, it's also something that is very specific to the consulting business, and very specific to working with public tenders, in the sense that, okay, we have a very good view, a very good flow of processes that are put in place for when we have delivery to be done.
Recruitment.
But it's recruitment to be done, somebody to hire. But let's say it's the step that comes before that, because before you can go start doing recruitment, you have to win contracts, and that's a part that is not covered by a system like an ATS. It's also something you can't expect from an ATS. It's not built for that. Where indeed we were lacking, and that was indeed the big pain point that we had beforehand. On one side, of course, having a good view of all the competences that we have in-house. Also, the possibility of being very reactive when working with a multitude of different framework contracts. As you mentioned, there's different templates going around. It's not only in the European sector. I know in the private market
here as well.
There are some that use it as well. I think a BNP makes use of it.
As soon as we think, it makes sense that big clients, they set up the procurement process. We don't want to receive, we want our suppliers to all suppliers in the same consistent way. So it makes sense every time that you have a large customer that they impose, okay, we don't want to receive LinkedIn profiles, we don't want to receive format ABC in English, French, whatever. We want to assess all our suppliers by the same template, with the same structure. So they apply a structure to the process, which makes a lot of sense. And of course, being European institutions, European Commission, European Parliament, makes all the sense that they impose their own. And then, of course, it makes it harder for ATSs and all those applications that were not specialized on CV management to comply with all those different templates, because they were not meant to do it. So they were meant to track the applications, to find candidates, maybe spread the job opportunity through the different portals, LinkedIn and all those things. And then have one single platform that will converge all the applications and then make it easy for the recruitment team to follow up on those candidates.
Indeed. So yeah, that's a big, let's say a big issue, and it's, as you say, it makes sense to impose as a large customer the way you want to receive CVs, because obviously for them it's also a matter of standardizing and making sure, again, it comes back to transparency, that whenever they select a candidate, that they have done it on a basis that is similar for everybody, for all the companies that applied. So yeah, in that sense, for us, it's critical to have a tool that allows us to quickly, let's say, get that information out, and that we are able to quickly process CVs in different formats, whether it's a Europass, whether it's a DGTM2, whether it's a Parliament. They're all sometimes very similar, but still very different. So we need to make sure that it's compliant.
So that sometimes they believe that they can find the tool that does it all. So one tool that will do all our consulting business, but I think then you realize that our business is so specific that we cannot rely on one single tool that do CV management, ATS. Okay, if you are more in a generic recruitment, maybe yes, but as soon as you go a bit more specific, especially on consulting for the European institutions especially, so it's very, very specific, you need to have different specialized tools, one for recruitment, one for CV management, that really can, those tools really can focus on the specificities of your business, of the European institutions, and they can easily adapt to the requirements, to the templates, also to the requests. I think it's and the languages as well. So it's also a universe full of languages, French, English. So it depends on Belgium as well, the Flemish as well. So if you work with the Flemish government, must be in Flemish.
Yes, indeed.
So you need to be open to very large requirements, and the tool must be, or the system needs to be adaptable to all those realities, which makes to have one tool that adapts to everything. I think it's really complex, and I think.
Plus, there's even an added layer of complexity in the sense that specifically in IT, a person can have different roles.
Yes.
You can be somebody who has a lot of experience in functional analysis, but also have a lot of experience in business analysis. So, of course, when you want to propose a CV of a candidate to a client, you always want to make sure that it is as much tailored as possible to the requirements that the client has, without, of course, losing touch of reality. So that's something that also we can manage in the Sprint CV tool.
Yeah, so
to have multiple profiles that are, let's say, adapted to different situations.
Senior Java also can be a Scrum Master, for example.
Exactly.
We say between developers that Scrum Master is not a job. But if you put a lot of projects, if you are the Scrum Master of many different teams, it becomes a job. So I believe that we can say that at consulting, CVs are not just documents; they are a kind of asset. The experience of the people are your main asset, which then represents the expertise that you have as well. So to deploy, to deliver projects, to win projects as well. So those are kind of your products to win clients and to win contracts. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because many times we see that companies say, they are just documents around. It's like, no, those are. You cannot treat CVs as documents. So they are kind of the assets of the company, especially of your employees, because those ones will be the ones that will help you to win contracts, to win, to deliver projects as well. So you really need to track all those skills, to track all those.
Of course, they are your showroom, and it's like if you walk into a car showroom and you want to buy a car, they always represent, let's say, all the different models in a very shiny way. They're always cleaned up, they're always attractive. And you want to make sure that you do the same with CVs, because they are, let's say, the core of your business. They are the first thing that the client will see. and it will give you it will give them a very important image of what type of company they are dealing with. So it's very important to have something, to have a CV that is very clean, that is very correct, and that is very that is reflecting the truth as well. That's very important.
And also to have a system that also helps your employees to write it correctly. So as many times as me, well, I've been a consultant in the past as well, so I know how unsexy is to write my CV and how unsexy is to put it in a system of the company. Like, it's a big struggle for companies to keep their CVs up to date. And many times consultants do not understand very well how important is it to upload the information correctly to the platform of the company, to
Indeed.
have it correctly, because many times your profile will be shown as a kind of a showroom, as a kind of a model, saying, okay, look, here we have a person with a very high level of certifications that has 10 years of industry experience in the public sector or education or defense. And then you have all this as experience, and usually they write one line to describe the experience. It's also important to set up a place where a system that helps people to write the things properly, maybe with some help of AI as well, so that they show them how to write in a proper way, with using the best practices of the company. It is quite also, you put yourself in the shoes of the employee or the collaborator. Look, we know that it's hard, but you'll not need to do it by hand, or if you change branding tomorrow, you don't need to do it again in a Word document. So just put it correctly in a platform. The platform helps you, and then you get the CV ready, and your management will not annoy you as well. So if I may ask you, Tan, regarding what were the main benefits or the concrete benefits for SWORD Group using Enterprise CV Manager like Sprint CV? So usually we sell that we have three main pillars. That is structure. So you put a structure in place that everything is harmonized and everything is in the same structure. Automation, and then alignment between teams. So how do you agree, not agree? What would be the main benefits that you see from a client like SWORD Group using a system like Sprint CV?
Well, I think that the biggest advantage that we have seen until now is the immense gain of productivity. We won a lot of time because before there was a lot of the work that needed to be done manually, which first of all is not the most pleasant job to be doing. Let's face it, and that's where it added a level of automation. Of course, freeing a lot of time from our team as well to dedicate on more fulfilling work. So that's been a real strategically, but also let's say that the way we were organized is that as a recruitment team as well, they also work on together with the bid team on making sure that all the CVs are properly done or properly in format, etc., etc. All of that part is now, let's say, cut from the process, which they can now invest in finding more candidates for more positions. So that's a huge gain in productivity. So that's I would say one of the biggest advantages that we have seen. And of course, the second one is to have a very good view. But okay, we come back to the same point. A very good view of which skills do we have in-house. Also saving time in the long run, because before, when you had a call for tender coming in, you had to start looking and puzzling together, okay, who can be put for this and who can we maybe use for this call for tender. Now it's just 2 clicks away, and okay, we have the view and we immediately know where to go. So I see that twofold in that sense.
2 examples. So one, it was when our client, a German client. So basically they were a small consulting group, so very specialized on AWS solutions. So they were specialized. Now they just have been acquired by a bigger group. And they were bidding for the German government. And then they had like 2 or 3 days, they were invited from a bigger consulting group that was looking for AWS expertise. And then they invited them kind of last minute to be part of the consortium. And then the CEO came to me and said, hey, Marco, we have 48 hours to reply to this tender, and we need to convert all our employees, there were around 30, into that specific template in German. We have 48 hours, and I think manually we'll not be able to do it. Can you help us? Yeah, sure, send me the template. So they sent me the template around, I think it was 9 p.m. At 10 p.m. it was on a platform. So it's hey, Marco, great. So at 11 p.m. they had all the templates exported. So then they had 48 hours to focus on the strategy. and not on the admin part. And then in the end, they won the contract.
Exactly, and that's a big bottleneck for many organizations, I think. I'm personally a strong fan of the KISS principle. I don't know if you know it.
Keep it
Keep it
simple.
simple, stupid, or stupid,
Yeah.
simple, however you want to position it. And yeah, for me, I'm always looking on how we can optimize processes, how we can smooth and make it more smooth. Let's say those processes, and in that sense, having the right tooling for the right jobs can save you a lot of time and be a huge gain of efficiency, which also means that you keep your overhead cost low in the end, because you will need less people to do the same job.
And you also increase your chances of winning, because
Absolutely.
your people, instead of being focusing on one admin task, they will be focusing on their time into strategy, winning, and make a better offer.
Absolutely. Plus, let's not forget, if you do something manually, there is, especially when there's an element of pressure of time involved, you're prone to making mistakes, which could at the end be fatal. If you have to do everything manually in a call for tender, you will make an error at some point. And if you automate that part of the process, you are less prone to having errors in there.
Because we define how the template should look like, and then you validate, you do the testing, you say, okay, it's good, we can go production, and then you know that the output will be always the same. So it's
Indeed.
And how you see the market of the European institutions evolving in the coming years? More into competition? These contracts will be bigger, smaller? And what are the expectations of the clients? There will be easier clients, harder clients. So how you see the future? If you'd have a crystal ball. So
Well, there's no
the
crystal
DPS.
ball. There's no crystal ball, but let's say that I've been working with European institutions for close to 15 years now, and there are quite a lot of shifts that I've seen over the years, where we come from. Let's say an environment where there were a lot of smaller contracts. Each department, each DG, each entity kind of had their own contracts covering their own interests. There is, first of all, a movement towards more globalizing all the contracts together. So you get to taller framework contracts. As we mentioned before, the systems are also changing, the procurement systems, in the sense that where you used to have cascading mechanisms, they are being replaced by more and more dynamic purchasing systems. And I think that will be the near future for European tenders. That's for certain. There are some advantages, there are some disadvantages, both on supplier side as on customer side. The advantage on customer side is that there will be an increase of competition, which theoretically means that it would lead to, let's say, a more cost competitive market. The downside is working with mini competitions, especially in very large framework contracts, it will create a lot of administration for clients, which will also lead to some frustrations in the business. But that's not always.
The mission will have the capacity, because before, with the tiering, like cascading system, it was easier. So you'd have 2 or 4 CVs for one position, or you would have one. At least you know that. So you'd only evaluate the tier 2 after you had rejected the tier 1.
Indeed.
Now with
it's
the
linear.
competition, for every single contract, they will have to listen all the 8 pre-selected consortiums or the 8 tiers. So they will always have 8 offers, which will also make them much harder than to evaluate, no? Which creates a huge overhead for the client side as well, no? For the institution.
Absolutely, and you say 8 offers, that's in best case scenario. There are some contracts where there are 20 slots.
20, yes.
So they will receive 20, if everybody answers, they will receive 20 offers. It does add a level of complexity for customers. I'm certain that they will take some time to find a way on how to manage that, because obviously there needs to be a certain term of transparency and fairness in that system as well. You have to make sure that you can justify why you are choosing one candidate over another. So that's adding a big level of complexity, and I'm very curious to see how that will work in practice. in the near future. But yeah, okay, I'm sure that there will be a way forward to be found.
Because DGTM3 will start when? So will be awarded because it will got postponed, and then now it will be awarded. When will be DGTM3 awarded?
Well, originally, what I heard was that they were planning to start as of June, but let's say that realistically speaking, it might be a bit delayed. On the other hand, I think it will have a big impact moving from DGTM2 to DGTM3, specifically on the way of working, on the mechanism that will be applied.
It will be a huge disruption, I would say. So from
it will be a huge
disruption to DGTM.
And that only shows that if you want to survive in the market of public procurement, you adapt or you die. It's as simple as that. So either you find a way of making it work, either you disappear from the market. And that does require some agility in thinking of organizing as well. I think that, let's say most of the companies that are present in the European institutions right now, they are all companies that have that experience, that know how the Commission is thinking, and that is very crucial to be able to be flexible in that sense, because it's always the client who dictates how things will work.
Who has the money dictates.
Who has the money? Who has the contract? Because let's face it, they have the capacity to say, okay, this is the way we want to work, and either you accept it or you do not bid for it. And it's as simple as that. So if you bid, you accept the terms and conditions, and it will always be the terms and conditions set by the client. You just have to find your way to make it fit and make it work.
Yeah, and see the positive, see it as an opportunity, and make the best of it, and forget the downsides and focus on the upsides. So to focus on the positive sides of the contract, that also brings opportunities.
Every challenge is a new opportunity. It's as simple as that.
And how you see the future? Positive?
Of course. I mean, I'm a half full glass kind of guy. I tend to stay optimist. No, I think the future is going to be bright, especially with everything that's going on geopolitically speaking. Again, it's a challenge, but every challenge brings opportunity. So I see that global perspective, let's say, budgets are shifting around. Europe is really investing into the future, is really investing into more sovereignty as well, which is about high time that we are more proud to be European as ever before, and that will bring a lot of opportunities, especially for the IT market, and not only for consulting, also for let's say the other IT branches that are active in the European institutions. It will be a big boost over the coming years. So. I think the future is specifically looking bright.
In the US products, let's say, need to really
absolutely, and
US cloud providers, US AI providers, US software providers. So Europe needs to become more independent.
Absolutely,
and to invest in their champions, and then to make them big as well. So it's a challenge, especially for Commission regarding AI and cloud. It's they really should pay attention regarding sovereignty.
Absolutely, and that's also a tendency or a trend that you see more and more, that they are putting the focus on sovereign solutions. There are already some contenders that were launched, let's say, in two phases, one phase being sovereign, one phase being non-sovereign. So you see that the pressure is mounting on that, and it's a positive evolution, especially for companies like ours that are let's say that have European DNA, European ownership. It will be a very interesting period for the years to come.
Great. So for closing, since we are already reaching the end of the call, so what would be your message for consulting companies that are still managing CVs by hand manually? What would be your advice to them?
Well, I would say keep doing it, because it gives the rest of us a competitive edge.
Yes.
But no, in reality, I think that, it goes without saying that if you are still doing these things manually, it's like working still with postal pigeons or faxes. At some point, you have to keep up. You have to get efficient and to organize yourself around that. So, I can only advise, let's say, the use of decent tooling in order to make sure that you maintain your competitive edge. and that you do everything that you can in order to be as quickly and as speedy as possible in response time, and not losing time with tasks that can be easily automated.
Yeah, because people many times they forget that their biggest expense is people. In any company, your biggest part of the cost is for people paying salaries.
Of course.
And just to boost the performance of any single person by 2 or 3%, by 2 or 3 times to do a specific task, the pricing for the tool becomes irrelevant because of the boost of performance. Okay, but it's
not irrelevant, but
no, but sometimes I see things that it's shocking for me. Like people are asking, we need a second screen to work faster. There's no money. Come on, a screen costs 80 euros. It's one time. It's done. It's there forever. So it's last 5 years a screen. So and the person with 2 screens can work like maybe 60% faster. The company doesn't pay as a ChatGPT even the 3 euros version. And they need to wait 20 minutes because they already exceeded the number of queries. So they need to do something else. It's like, come on, guys, you are saving on peanuts in order to be faster than the market and all those things. So many times it is, I know that keep the costs low is very critical for companies. But sometimes you need to see the added value of the benefits that the tool brings you or a new system brings you.
Absolutely.
In terms of competitors, keeping a good process in-house that make us more efficient and also faster to the market than trying to do everything at the old way, manually, relying on labor, and that has a huge cost for the company.
If the return on investment is positive, you would be a fool not to do it. That's it's as simple as that. It's like sticking to a wagon with horses while you have a self-driving car.
It is true. It's very true. Don, many thanks for your time today. It was great to have you here. So it's always great to speak with you.
Thank you, Marco.
Let's try to have a coffee or a lunch one of these days.
Absolutely, will be my pleasure.
Since we are 5 minutes away from each other, literally.
That's true.
So let's try to book something.